Well, we're live. That's a great thing.
Indeed. That's mission accomplished. So, hello, faces of partner world. Today's a real treat for me. I've been following Action Coach and Brad Sugars for many, many years. Welcome, Brad. Appreciate you being here.
Hey, it's good to be with you, Brian. Good to be here.
Appreciate it. A quick introduction for Brad Sugars. Started Action Coach in 1994 out of Brisbane, Australia. Today, the company is ranked as one of the leading business coaching franchises by Entrepreneur Magazine. If I understand it correctly, you operate in over 80 countries. You've got over 1,000 different coaches worldwide, which is pretty impressive. You train or coach over 15,000 businesses on a weekly basis. You and your executive team continue to build business re-education, and I love the term, to new, more innovative and exciting levels. And it's with that I say thank you for spending some time with us. And I'm looking forward to having a relatively short conversation today.
Well, hopefully we can go a bit longer and get some people some real details around this stuff. You forgot to mention I'm also a dad and have 5 kids and living a crazy life. My wife, me being Australian and her being American, it's a fun life that we live.
Also an author. Right, 17 books now at this point. The recent one, Pulling Profits Out of a Hat. So
there's the latest one, Pulling Profits Out of a Hat.
Nice.
It's only about 3 pounds. Actually, it's 2.78 pounds. I know that because when they ship it, they keep telling me how much it costs. So
I have a copy of it. I can attest to the approximate weight. No shortage of things for you to do. I understand Halloween's one of your favorite holidays. I learned from some of your staff that you guys go all out during the holidays. So I guess Halloween was probably a fun time a couple weeks back. Hey, Brad. Having some audio issues. Oh, there we go.
Hey, there we go. We got me?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm just saying that one of my favorite things about Halloween is it's a holiday about candy and about scaring people. So, that's what's good for me. You don't have to buy presents for people. All you can do is get candy and give it away. We actually put an ice cream truck in our driveway. We give out ice creams for Halloween, so it's a little different.
Well, with 5 kids too, right? Halloween and Christmas are 2 huge holidays here in the States.
Yeah, well, now the oldest ones are sort of 16 and 17. They're kind of, Dad, Halloween's not that cool anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, the young ones still love it though, so that's good.
Well, great. I kind of felt like it'd be in November, and this is the time of year where people not only are trying to meet their end of year goals, right? They're trying to accomplish whatever they set out to do for the current year. But they're also taking some time to reflect on where their business is and what 2020 and 21 and 22 might look like, and beginning some planning. You've talked a lot lately about how you observe that business owners, in your opinion, they don't think big enough, right? And when they're putting these goals together, they're not stretching themselves enough. And I was curious, based on your observations, why do you think that happens?
Well, there's several reasons. Actually, start with the whole November thing. Yeah, hence the Movember starting. I'm trying to get this Movember thing going.
I cleaned it up for today.
Yeah, let's see. I normally would, but it's Movember. Listen, I tell you, most people don't think big enough because they set their goals based on their current reality. So a lot of people, I would describe their goal sheet as more of a to-do list. It's like grow by 10%, grow by 20%. That's not really a goal. That's just work a little bit harder, do a little bit more, get a little bit better, and you get there sort of thing. An actual goal for a business, first and foremost, let's understand business goal setting. Business goal setting should be based upon market research. It should be based upon, okay, the size of the market is X. There are 15 competitors in the market. We should be aiming for X% market share. And if we want to dominate, then we want to dominate the bottom half and be in the top half, then we should be going for Y% market share. And most business owners don't do that. Most business owners base their goals on one of 2 things, either 10% better than last year or X% better than last year. Or the second thing they set their goals based on is, I need 100 grand a year to live, so the business has got to do 700 grand so I can make 100 grand, so therefore that's what we got to do. And so that's not really goal setting for a business. That's goal setting for yourself, or sort of goal setting for yourself. I try and stretch people. I teach a formula called dream, goal, learn, plan, act. Okay? Simple formula for success. Dream big, turn your dreams into goals. Dreams are things that are 10, 20 years off type thing. Goals are anything 5 years or inside. Now, you've got to start with the dreams, because if you don't have dreams, and this is where you allow yourself to stretch and go, well, one of the, I hate this term, but people use this reasonableness clause in my book. They sit there and try and be reasonable about their goals. And it's like, no, dream. What would you dream? What color helicopter would you have if you had a helicopter? And people go, well, I don't really want a helicopter. I said, well, that's because you've never flown in one. And, you know, if you live in certain places like Atlanta, oh my God, you want a helicopter, because Atlanta, the traffic is awful. Anyway, you know, you sit there and you start thinking about dreams. And W. Somerset Maugham, I think, put it best when he said, nothing if not at first a dream. You know, because if you don't write your dreams down, then of course all of them come true, because you haven't written any down. Therefore, it's easy for them to come true, because there's none. You know, then your dreams turn into goals, and your goals have got to be set. I always say start with the end in mind. So for a business owner, and Covey wrote it in his 7 Habits, and we've all read that 100 years ago, but most people still don't do it. So in a business, what is the end? Well, in a business, the end point is the sale of the business. The ultimate goal of a business is to build a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you, something that you can sell. And the only way you can sell the business for real money is to make it so that it runs without you. If you still have to be there, then your business is you're not really selling a business, you're selling a job. And the only person you can sell to is someone else who knows your business and is in your industry. And therefore your multiple is much lower than if you're selling external to your industry to a group of investors or a capital fund of some sort. Now, that being said, if you want to build a business that works, you've got to finish it. If you, you know, like, you know, there's a pen someone told me, well, to sell this pen, they had to finish it. If all they did was make the ink, it's not finished, you can't sell it for very much. So you've got to build a business that works so that you don't have to. And therefore, you know, if I can put it best, if you work for yourself, if you're both the CEO and the owner of the business, then you work for a crazy person. Because as a CEO, you're lying to the owner saying, oh, I worked the hardest I could, and the owner's accepting your total lies and saying, oh, that's fantastic. You know, whereas if someone else owned your business, they would make you work much harder as CEO. You know, and same as if you employed someone else to be CEO of your business, you'd push them much harder than where you're going. So where I try and get to, and one of the things that we wrote, and one of the reasons I did the study of this book, it took us 2 years to put this one together. And what we looked at was exponential growth organizations, and what is the difference between a company that grows in percentages and a company that grows in multiples. So if let's say last year you grew at 12%, I would say to you this year, how do you grow at 12 times? Remove the percent and put in an X, 12 times. And people go, I don't know how to grow 12 times. So that's the point. That's why you got to read the book. It's what you've got to study. It's a different way of thinking. See, imagine this, Brian. Imagine I said to you, okay, to own your own, to be in business for yourself, you must be doing 100 million a year or $1 billion a year, whatever the number is. What size business plan would you go and write? 100 million or $1 billion? You know, the problem is people write a business plan based on their own personal needs, wants, desires, and thoughts of what they can achieve, rather than what the market says and how big the market is and what they could actually go after if they really wanted to. So where are we taught that stuff, to think small? You know, be good, do as you're told, get a good job and work the rest of your life. I guess schooling and church and media and parents and all teachers to think smaller. Now, I was lucky enough when I was 16 years old to start reading books on success. And if you look behind me here, there's always a pile of them. I give them away after I've read them, so there's always a pile to give away somewhere. But I sit back and I think of, you know, reading things like Think and Grow Rich and The Magic of Thinking Big and The Richest Man in Babylon and How to Win Friends and Influence People. I was 16 and 17 years old when I was reading those. And it's like, so I've never had the chance ever to really think small ever again.
For me, mindset's such a critical part of this, right? It's easy to sit around and observe others being successful and chalk it up to some sort of privilege or some sort of opportunity that they got that I'm not necessarily privy to. And I've read those books, right? It helps shape the way you see what's possible out there in the world. And then what's left is attaining the education, right? To go develop the skills to be able to accomplish those lofty goals. And I think that also, it creates a real challenging dynamic when you realize the person that's sitting here today isn't capable of doing that.
Yeah.
How much work is required, what effort's required to evolve and become someone different to be able to reach those goals and those lofty dreams, and can be a scary endeavor.
Well, that's why the formula is dream, goal, learn, plan, act. You got to do the learning. You know, I've told the story many times of how as a young man, you know, I set these massive goals and people told me you can't achieve them. And they were right. The person I was at the time couldn't achieve those goals. But the person I was becoming would knock those goals out of the park every day and Sunday twice. You know, it's one of those things that you've got to realize that part of the purpose of setting a goal is to determine who do I need to become in order to achieve that goal. You know, I want to have a goal of running a marathon. Excellent. Well, who do I need to be? I need to be a runner. Okay. I can't run a marathon if I'm a walker. You know, it doesn't quite work that way. And the same is true for business. If you want to double the size of your business, who do you need to be? What do you need to learn in order to double the size of your business? Well, I go back to sales, because sales is always an easy one where, and your group will really relate to this, in that, you know, people say to me, oh, I'm no good at sales. Really? How many sales books have you read? Oh, none. Right. How many sales training courses have you been to? Oh, none. Well, how do you expect to be good at something you've never done? Well, I wasn't born with the gift of the gab. I wasn't born a salesman. Well, no one's born a salesperson. No one's born a leader. We all learn these skills and we develop these skills. And as you get better at them, obviously everything works for you. You know, life doesn't get easier. Business won't get easy. You've got to get better at business. And if you become a great business person, you build a great business. It's not complex. It's quite simple. Build you and you build it. Build your people and they build it. You know, if you don't build your people, how can they build a better business? Business owners blow my mind. They go, you know, I want my staff to work better. Well, great. What training are you giving them? Oh, no, training costs too much money. Well, no one's ever outperformed their training. So what say we invest a few dollars in them, train them to be better, and amazingly they will get better and your business will get better as well.
Yeah, it's not super complicated. So the partner universe that we're growing, this community that we're establishing, is largely successful community-based businesses. So they're brokers or successful real estate agents. One of our partners is a successful State Farm insurance agent. And so I don't know that the exit part is as relevant today when they think about that business, right? I'm gonna grow a successful real estate business in Metro Atlanta. So what does that look like for me? And is exiting part of that strategy? But I do think the part where you talk about just focusing on how much market share can we effectively grab, how many agents do I compete with in my part of, you know, your town, USA, and how much of that market share do I want, and what's possible? And the challenge, I struggle with that question because the only one that's there to answer that right now is them.
Yeah. Well, if you look at your PB, you know, what's your personal best? And in business, one of the goals, the same as sport, is to always be achieving personal bests. You know, and if you're not thinking that every year I got to have more than I did last year, it's like, you know, your kids go to school. Imagine your kids in grade 4 and they come home at the end of the year and the teacher says, yeah, they failed. They got to repeat grade 4. And you're like, my kid, 4? How do you fail grade 4? You know, next year they come back and failed it again. Next year they come back and failed it again. You got them tutors, you're working with them, all this stuff. They're 17, they're driving to school, they're still in grade 4. You know, they're still failing every year. People are like, that's just stupid. Well, hang on, why do adults get away with it then? You know, they're not better off financially year on year. They're not better off health-wise year on year. They're not better off with more friends. They haven't had better vacation. They live in photocopy lives and they still think. So I always look at it from a PB point of view. How many days vacation did you take last year and how many days vacation are you going to take this year? You know, what was your health like last year? What's your health like this year? What's your personal investment strategies from last year to this year? Did your net worth go up this month over last month? If your net worth didn't go up this month over last month, what are you doing? You know, if your financial income didn't go up this month over last month, what are you doing? If you're not up this month over last year this month, then what are you doing? And so, you know, you mentioned, and so the formula goes dream, goal, learn, plan. Where I find most businesses fail is they just don't do planning well because they think the most important plan is the annual plan. The annual plan is one of the least important business plans there is. The most important business plan is the daily plan. You know, what is your plan today for tomorrow. So at the end of the day, in all of my companies, and I now run 8 companies. I used to always be saying I'd run 9 companies in 2 days a week, but we sold one. So now I'm down to 8 companies in 2 days a week. So I might have to buy another one.
You must be looking for something to do, Brad.
Yeah, I got to try and keep busy. It's funny how people say, "Oh, you own 8 companies, you must be super busy." Yeah, I am on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're the days I work. Hence, we're doing this interview on a Tuesday because I work on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 till 3 when the kids are at school. Now, I don't bring that up to impress anyone, but to impress upon you what can happen when you do the right planning. If you daily plan, all of our companies, everyone plans every single day before they leave the office for the next day or before they leave the shop for the next day. At the end of every week, everyone on a Friday does 2 plans. One is for next week and one is for Monday. It's not complex. At the end of every quarter, well, it's 2 months into the quarter, we review the quarter, brainstorm what's happening for next quarter. We plan every single quarter. That's why a lot of business owners join us as Action Coach and become a member, because we run our planning programs every quarter. We get every business owner we know to come in and plan the next quarter and plan what they're going to do. It's crazy that people don't plan the next day. They'll do an annual plan, but not a daily plan. You got to get down to it. Like goals. Annual goals are not that important. Daily goals are important. And break it down.
If you only look at your annual goals once a year, they're not providing a whole lot of benefit to you, are they?
Well, they're at least better than the person that doesn't do any, but you're right. They're not going to help on Tuesday type thing. It's like your annual goals need to be broken down into quarterly goals, quarterly down into monthly, monthly into weekly, weekly into daily, and daily into hourly. If you break your goals down into hourly goals, you can always hit them. If you don't break it down into hourly goals, you ain't going to get there. You'll get to September or November and go, shoot, now we got to work real hard to get to the end of year goals. And that's not the way I like it to be. I like our companies to be ahead.
You run the world's largest coaching franchise.
Mm-hmm.
If I think about the people that have impacted me along the way that were at the time, they would be perceived to be more successful than I was. And so I just observed and, learned some of these things through books, but also through people like you, like that I've been fortunate enough to live and work and be around. Real estate's a popular profession to have a coach, but if I have to learn somehow for me to get to level up, so to speak, and what I like about Pulling Profits is you talk about being healthy in the different areas, right? Like it's not just being able to understand how to learn and read a P&L, but having relationship goals and your health goals, like all those, you want to level up in every area. And that's where true elevation and lift comes from. It seems like a leading question. It's really not intended to be, but if I'm a business owner and I'm not investing in coaching, I don't have someone that's doing 3X or 5X my business today that can help me understand and give me a line of sight on what that business looks like. How else can I expect to go out and grow my business 3 to 5X?
Yes. Look, my simple answer to that is this. There's a reason coaching works. And it's not a complex reason. I've had coaches all my life. I still have 3 of them today, different areas of business, but 1 for finance and 2 for business areas. But I sit down and I look at it and I think that, it's tough, Brian. To get a coach sometimes is tough because what some people see it as is an admission of failure. Some people see getting a coach as, hang on, I don't need a coach. I got this. I got it all. I'm doing okay. I don't need a coach. What do I need a coach for? Well, the reality is you can't see the forest for the trees. You don't even know what you don't know about your own business, and that's a challenge. Second reality is you can't hold yourself accountable. You just can't. It's not possible. By definition of the word, being held to account, you just can't do it. You need someone else to hold you to account, and that's the simple thing. And the third is what you mentioned, someone who's already been there, done that. Oh my God, to not have someone on your team that's been there, done that, or at least has a systematic methodology to help you grow what you're doing, kind of a little crazy. But, when people ever say to me, listen, I don't think I need a business coach, I say, fantastic, please write down the name and phone number of your largest competitor. And they're like, why is that? So I'm going to go coach them.
I want to chew on this for just a second because I think, like you said, it's an admission of guilt.
Can be, yeah. Can be seen that way.
Would you agree that like there's a level of humility? Like nobody that goes on to be super successful lacks confidence, right? There's an element of confidence that's required to to do things that you've not done before and risk failure, right? Quote unquote failure. But I think there also has to be a level of humility and self-awareness, right? That's a requirement in growing and being successful. And I just would be curious from your observation, the ones that don't get coaching, that they take fourth grade over every single year of their business life. Do you think that is tied to their unwillingness to be vulnerable and address things for what they really are?
Dang, that's a big question. First of all, there's a difference between confidence and arrogance. You know, a confident person, see, I'm super confident in business, but I still read every single day of my life. You know, I still believe there's more to learn. I still believe there's no way I know enough to solve. Like Marshall Goldsmith wrote a great book one time called "What Got You Here Won't Get You There," and just the title alone is just one of the biggest lessons that there is in life. You want to get somewhere different, then you got to do something different. You want to learn. You want to achieve more than you've done today. And by someone being on this recording with us, just the fact they're watching it tells us one very simple thing: they want to be somewhere different to where they are today. And the problem is, Brian, you and I are not talking to people that need this lesson. People that need this lesson are not watching this video. They're just not. They're like, I don't need to listen to those guys. I already got it. You know, that's great, fantastic. Go away. You know, we don't. I remember one of my mentors one time said to me, "Never try and teach a pig to sing. It annoys the pig and it wastes your time." You know, it's one of those simple things of some people will, some people won't. And those who want to learn, I always do. I mean, I've done a lot of seminars over the years where I've taught, you know, literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. And I've always said to them, you know, seminars don't work. The people who come to them do. You know, and it's those learners that inherit the world. It's those learners that keep growing. And you know, you watch that realtor that thinks they know everything and stops learning and stops marketing and stops doing stuff, and yeah, that person's going to go. You know, all they've got, they've still got the billboard with their face on it. Good job, dude. You go with that billboard and those bus seats and your 1920s photograph of yourself. You know, that's the insanity of it all. They don't keep up with the times. They don't keep up with where everything is. And holy heck, just to keep up with the Facebook advertising it's almost a full-time dang job. You know, that's why we use a lot of outside firms now, because it's just too hard to keep your staff trained to keep up with all this stuff. It's like the more outside firms I can use where it's their job to keep up with it. That's the thing. So
you had made a comment one time, and I don't know that this directly applies to a broker or even a top performing real estate agent, but business owners do on their daily checklist are tasks or to-dos that repay them over and over in time. And we hire a team that handle the tasks that are only paid for once. Yeah. Right. And that resonated with me a lot as I think about what we set out to do with this company and the partners that we're fortunate enough to impact. And I ask these questions as a way of hopefully just inspiring our partners to think, right? Like this isn't challenging or threatening, but it really is to take some self-reflection. A lot of our partners comment, and I'm so busy, right? I got to figure out how to fit something else in. And I would just challenge you to take an inventory on what you're so busy doing. And that was why I commented on pay me now and later, or is it just pay me now? You
know, the key to success in business, in wealth, in all of these things is leverage. It's a very simple formula. And I go through it in the book as part of strategy, because a business has to have a strategy, and there's 4 elements to strategy, one of them being leverage. Now, the mathematical formula for leverage is divide to multiply. How do you divide a task up so that you can then multiply the end results? You know, Henry Ford did it with the production of the automobile. If anyone wants to see an example of that, jump on YouTube and type in Brad Sugar's 5 Ways, and you'll see how I break down business profitability. Or on my Facebook or LinkedIn. I'm on all them social media things other than Pinterest, not on Pinterest. Yeah, not that crafty, dude, not me. That's my wife. That's my wife. Her business, all about that stuff. Mine, nothing to do with that stuff. But my teaching, because I first learned leverage with the formula of more with less, and then it evolved into ever more with ever less. And then I thought, hang on, okay, I got it. But when I started teaching it, people didn't really understand it. And so I developed my own definition, and that is leverage is do the work once, get paid forever, or at least long term. So, you know, very simple. It's not a tricky question. How many times did I write the book? Once. How long will I get paid for the book? Forever. 75 years after I'm dead, my kids will still get royalty on the dang thing, or the grandkids, or whoever it is by then that's got all the money. I'll be dead, so it doesn't matter to me. But the point behind it is, if you are doing work one time and get paid one time, that's not leveraged. It's just not. It's like, why I wrote a book on real estate investing. How come? Because why do I love investing in real estate? And this is where, it blows my mind that people in real estate don't even understand how investing in real estate works. And they're all about, oh, the prices are going to go up. No one cares if the prices go up or not. Real investors in real estate understand one thing. I put in 20%. Tenant pays my mortgage for the next 20 years. I get 100%. So I've had a 400% return on investment over 20 years. 400% return in 20 years? You can't get that nowhere. And they always worry about, will it go up in value or down in value? I don't care. I'm already getting 400%. Anything above 400, holy, that would blow my mind, And of course, I've been in real estate since I was 19, so not in the business of it, but in the business of it, if that makes sense. So we love owning a lot of property. We love doing it. So the company I just sold was actually a property management company down in Texas. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been in that game a long time. I've owned real estate magazines, investor magazines. I've been all around it. So I love the business. I think it's a great business. I love your network because your people treat it as a profession, not as a thing. And I live here in Las Vegas, where the waiters treated as a profession. So we have great waiters in this town. They're professionals, And then you got some real estate people and some insurance people who are not professional in the industry, and it gives it a bad name for the rest. But when you're a professional at it, you do an amazing job, and that's the thing. You guys have got a lot of things coming your way with the internet taking over and the move of selling online and the reduction of commissions, and all of these things are coming to change your industry, and you got to keep ahead of it. So that's why you got to keep learning, you got to keep studying, and be part of a network where each of you helps each other, I guess, is probably one of the key things.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The whole premise behind what we're creating is a way to more quickly meet people, right? One of the things you said in a drive time too is this whole world is really based on fundamental human interaction, right? And I think for a real estate agent, the more people that are comfortable and familiar with who I am and what I do in my local market, the better off I'm likely going to be. And so how do I stay in flow and connected to those individuals, and how do I grow that sphere of influence? And so that's really important.
I look at the number of realtors right now not doing content marketing, not even doing videos, not doing what we're doing here today. Why wouldn't you every day for 5 minutes, take 5 minutes to talk about something in real estate, walk down one street and tell people why you love that street and what's good about it on your neighborhood? Become the expert, for goodness sake. Get well known. Every video you do is another billboard for your business, and they're free billboards. You got 5 minutes, you got a phone, do that thing, post it, off you go. They don't connect any. I see realtors who aren't even on LinkedIn connecting with everyone in their town type thing, and they're not even in the groups on there. They're not active in that stuff. Dang, you're sitting at an open house and you got 5 minutes to spare. Do something. Do some marketing of some sort. Create some content out there and get the world to know you.
It's all about resonant content. And to your point, that content lives on forever on social media to repay you over and over, right? You talk about things that you should be doing and things maybe we shouldn't be doing. I think growing our sphere of influence and connecting with the individuals that live in my community, however that be, but certainly needs to include social media. That needs to be a big part of the equation. Yeah,
look, I sit back and I look at it. The two most important things in marketing today are testimonials and ratings. And if you don't know your ratings on all of the websites, now you've got plenty of them in real estate telling the world how good or bad you are. You got plenty of them, from just even your Google rating. I mean, those sorts of very simple things, Yelp ratings, all of this stuff. You're being rated everywhere in the world. And if you don't know about it, you better find it and you better ask your best customers to do it. I had to learn that the hard way when the internet first got going. And, we didn't ask our best customers to say good things about us. We didn't know to do that when the internet first started. And, so therefore the only people anyone ever heard from was that one guy that wrote an anonymous letter about you telling the world that you sucked. And it was like, what? That's not fair. Come on, Now we know we have to ask. So we actually ask every customer to put videos up about us. We ask every customer to give us a review. And we do things like Net Promoter Score, which we just got back to 77. So world-class 77 Net Promoter Score for Action Coach. We do things like when we get a prospect. Actually, let me teach something here for all realtors, right? When you get someone call up and say, hey, I'd like to list my house with you, I want you to have one of these. This is a box. This box is not complex. It's what we send to every prospective customer that we get at Action Coach. They open the box and they look inside and they go, wow, that's all that points and culture typed up. Let me get the lighting on that and the inside of the box. And then they go in and there's a folder with all the things that we do and has the letter and the business cards in there. And then there's a book full of testimonials from our clients, all of our clients, case studies around how they grew their business. And then there's a chip in here which has a video of yours truly teaching people how to grow their business. Then there's a magazine about everything we do and all of our clients and more case studies and more every program we offer. Why do we send that out to everybody? Because no one else does. The moment they get it on their doorstep. And we literally ship it to them on a crosstown courier. So they call for a listing with you. I want you sending something like that to them, crosstown courier. Put a kid on a bicycle, send it over to them. You know why? Because no one else will do it. By the time you turn up for the listing, there's no one in the running but you. You're the only one in the running because you're the one who actually sent them something, not an email. I hate that people say, well, we send them an email to confirm the appointment. Shut up! Take your email and stick it where, when you're selling the invisible, Harry Beckwith's book, Selling the Invisible. When you're selling the invisible, you got to make it visible. So, read that one too. That's a good one. Read all mine first, though, of course.
You get pretty fired up, Brad. That was good. I like it.
Look, I love the real estate business. I just get annoyed with people who don't do it professionally. It just annoys me that there's a lack of professionalism in it. And of course, not your network, but there might be some people out there who get an idea or two from that stuff.
I think it's a great idea. I love everything about it. In fact, thinking about ways that we might incorporate it for the real estate agents that may consider joining our community is part of the. Yeah,
build one for everybody. Everyone can use it type thing. But I go back to that whole testimonial thing. If you're not getting a testimonial from every single customer, if you're not keeping in touch with them, I had a realtor one time who argued with me. She said, well, Brad, that would cost too much to keep in touch with all my past customers. I said, really? I'm asking you to send one letter every 90 days at a minimum. All right? Just one physical letter, an actual newsletter, whatever it is. Let's say it costs you $1 to send it each time. It won't cost you $1, but let's pretend it did. $4 a year. Average person buys a new house every 7 years, 3 to 7, depending on the marketplace. So $28 to keep in touch with them and make sure that you're their first choice when they go to buy again. It's insane to not do that. Anyway.
It's good stuff. I want to be conscious of your time. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sharing it. We've established that this is one of your 2 work days. So to give me 45 minutes of that's a big chunk of your work week this week. And so I appreciate that very much. So we talked about pulling profits. That's available on Amazon. If the message resonated, like I catch you on LinkedIn, you and I are now first contacts on LinkedIn, and I catch Drive Time when you're in town and you post Drive Time on LinkedIn, which I very much appreciate you. And for the people paying attention, Drive Time is on Brad's commute either to or from work. It's usually 7 or 8 minutes where he takes a business topic and he kind of chews it up for the benefit of the audience. And it's just a bite-sized chunk way of getting some of this content. And I think it's great. There are some other ways that they might become more familiar with Brad Sugars and perhaps the Action Coaching brand.
Any of the books, actioncoach.com, bradsugars.com, we kind of make it pretty easy people to find us, any of them Facebooks and YouTubes and that sort of thing. Look, I think the most important thing is to just keep learning. It doesn't matter where you get your knowledge, as long as you keep upgrading your knowledge, everything gets easier. Drive Time, it's funny because you said I do it on the way to work. I mostly do it on the way to the gym or on the way home from dropping the kids at school. That's actually where I do it most times. Or if I don't get in the car that day, I'll sit at one of the bars in my house and sit down and have a drink with people. Call it drinks time. But look, ultimately, I think that the average, and anyone watching this, jump on actioncoach.com. There's a section there where you can get a free session with a business coach. Please go and avail yourself of that. All of my coaches all around the world give 4 hours a week to pro bono coaching. They give, 4 people a week get 1 hour for free. We do that everywhere in the world. We've always done it, and we'll always continue to do it. So I think that's a great way to build it. Ultimately, I just want to remind everyone of one thing, and that is this. If someone else can do it, you can too. If someone else can double or triple or quadruple their business in a year, then you can do it too. So when you're sitting down to set your goals and plans for next year, yeah, you might not know right now how you can quadruple your business, but if you set it as a goal, magically over the next few months, you can start learning stuff where you'll see something about how to quadruple your business. You know, don't settle for 10, 20%. Settle for a big number and then find out how to do it.
I love it. I appreciate everything about you and your message and your foundation. And it's a privilege to get to connect one-on-one. Brad, if you ever find yourself in Atlanta, Georgia, I'd welcome the chance to buy you a drink.
I'll have to get the helicopter out there, though.
However you get here, that's up to you.
I'm sure I'll get there in the next couple of years. I'm always traveling, doing events. So I do 38 events somewhere in the world every year. So I'll make sure I get one into Atlanta sometime soon.
That'd be great. And it'd be a privilege to shake hands in person. And I very much appreciate your time today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, buddy. Good to be here with you. Good to be with all your team.
Yeah, appreciate it. Take care, Brad.